Hey, Jennifer, I am recording. I'll do a little formal announcement real quick. I am talking to Jennifer Cortiella with CortiellaPhotography.com, and we are doing a one-on-one consultation, and I'm just here to answer any question that she has. So what's
Hi,
up?
Joe. Good. How's everything? How's Giving Print going?
It's going good. We're having to make a whole lot of decisions, and we're just trying to roll with the punches on that kind of stuff. But
That's awesome. I see it in the background. I love them.
oh yeah, my prints are yeah.
Yeah. I
Our
got
house
two
is like a
prints.
gallery.
That's beautiful. I have two prints here in the office. I can't turn around my Mac, but I have them here. And then I gave two of them to my fellow photographers, and they love it. They love it. They love it.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
I saw your email about
Yes.
some of the questions that you had. Do you just want to like dive right into it and
Sure.
well, why don't you? I have the questions, but why don't you talk to me about what you're struggling with in your business and what you really hope to improve?
The pricing
Okay.
and selling albums
Okay.
and the album credits.
Yeah.
No idea how to use that or even how to present that.
I've never used album credits, but I understand them and I can explain them to you. That's all.
Okay. So album credits.
Okay. So you want to start there?
Sure.
Okay. So album credits are pretty much a way to make people buy your albums separately. So in other words, if I gave you $20 to spend on one of my $45 giving prints, and would you feel obligated to go buy a giving print knowing that you have $25 credit to buy it with?
Yeah, because I would think it would be much cheaper, I guess.
Yeah, because now you're only paying $20 because I gave you a $25 credit.
Okay.
So that's what album credits are. It's just me, like usually it's inflating the price of your album to like $3,500 per album. And then you say, well, I'm going to give you a $1,000 credit to an album. And then people are like, whoa, I've got $1,000. So, gosh, these albums are normally $3,500. I mean, $2,500 is a really good deal. Like, I've got $1,000 to spend. It just kind of psychologically makes them kind of think that way.
Okay.
Me personally, I think it's a little manipulative, so I don't personally do it. I never have. I just include albums in my package.
Okay.
And the reason I do that is because I had a dad guilt me into it one day, and he looked at his little USB and he said, "This is all I get for $4,000?" I was like, "Oh gosh." There's so much more to it, but I get it. I understood what he was getting at because to him, he wanted something to look at. So from that day on, I started including albums. And all I did was inflate my price of a total package to include that and all the work that was going to go into it.
Okay. That sounds good.
Do you want to, have you ever heard how I do albums?
No.
Okay. First of all, you have to know I don't like doing wedding albums. And I don't like doing wedding albums because I don't like the back and forth between me and the bride. Hate it. But what I did, so when I started including them in my package, I was going back and forth and I got tired of it. And I was like, man, screw this. I'm going to take them out. But then I said, you know what? The only thing I don't like is the communication between me and the bride. So I'm going to include wedding albums with the package, but you as a bride have absolutely no say in it. And I design it the way I want to. You're going to get, here, I got one here. You're going to get an amazing wedding album that's absolutely beautiful, lay flat, and you're going to get it for free if you don't have any say in it. If you want a say in it, it's going to cost you $1,000 because that's the price I need to deal with communicating with you back and forth over changes in your album. And people love it because they're like, wow, I'm getting a free album. And you follow it up by saying, I care so much about your wedding. I am going to watch everything that's going on. And if I see that you're not getting along with somebody at your wedding, I'm not going to include it in your book. I pay attention to the whole entire thing. and I'm more meticulous than you. So trust me, it's going to be an amazing wedding album.
Yeah.
And people love it.
Okay. Were you able to see the price guide? My price guide. Do you have any?
It was, yeah. So I saw the price guide that you had, and the one that you were told to go with.
Suggested, yeah.
Suggested. Okay. Yeah. So I'm looking at them right now. Can you still see me?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I like your layout, starting at 2,500, having a 3,500, and then having a 4,500 package. I see that the difference between the 35 and the 25 is an album, right?
Yes.
Get it? And that's pretty much the only difference.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're including like $1,000 album. The only thing that I would do is to put like maybe some a la carte prices for separate stuff and say, you know, that album is $2,000 if you buy it separate or something like that.
Which it is. I mean, that the company that I use, they're here in Miami. It's a local company. It's a family-owned company, but the albums are really good. They're handcrafted, and the papers are like not the paper, but the spreads. Okay. The layouts are this. And they have I think they gave me like a lifetime warranty on them, but they're expensive. They're like $500 and something to make
for 15 spreads. Or
for 20 spreads, up to 50 images.
So I paid.
I had to turn around and upsell it, unfortunately. Yeah. So they were telling me that I should charge 3 times higher whatever the album cost. So it's like $1,800 or so. Yeah. I'm like,
yeah. And that's actually not a problem for brides to spend that much money on an album.
Okay.
It's not. I think what you're gonna run into, since the difference in the price is only $1,000. I think you're gonna run into a little bit regret down the road if people start booking that, and you're gonna have the back and forth of the bride, and you're gonna be saying, "Man, I should be charging more for these albums because like the stuff I have to go through is hard."
Can I limit the going back? Like, hey, you're allowed to edit it twice. Anything after that is gonna be $100 each time we edit.
Totally, you can say it any way you want. You know, what I would do personally, though, is make sure that you get that album close to perfect the first time so that they're just swapping out pictures.
Okay.
And use a program like Fundy or...
I tried that. Oh, my God. I'm not good with softwares like that. I've been practicing with it, and it's just so like...
Yeah. You have to find the software that you like, but use software, because if you do it yourself through Photoshop, you'll be there all day.
Yeah.
I literally design my albums in like an hour.
Wow.
So
yeah, I've been practicing with Funding. It's not easy, but yeah, I'm gonna keep on practicing because the album people that I use, I just submit the pictures and they design it for me.
Okay.
So, but there's a fee for that as well. But I want to learn how to do that on my own too. So.
Yeah. So as far as the other pricing that I saw,
what about the hours? Do you think I should change the hours? Maybe have 8, because there's a lot of brides out there that are asking me like for 4 hours or 2 hours for a wedding, and I'm like,
well, if the demand is there, definitely.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to shoot for 4 hours, you know, one of the things that you said in my email or your email to me was that there's not a lot of people, like there's a lot of competition, but they're all kind of at low prices. Is that what you were saying?
Yes.
Okay.
I had this bride that
Girl, you're in Miami. You're in Miami. You can get some high-end weddings there.
But it's just finding them. It's just crazy. I don't know. They can do weddings for $500 or less, or even $1,000, and then they're like, "Oh, can you beat that?" No, I can't beat that.
Okay, well, just realize that I started out at $600 a wedding, and I went up to $7,000 a wedding.
Wow.
And that took 7 years to do. Okay. The span it took me to get from 600 to 2,500 where you are right now was probably about 2 years. Okay. So just remember, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. every wedding photographer wants to be like, I want to be making $5,000 a wedding and all that stuff. But the thing is that you have to build your way up to it. Your photography is good. It's not $5,000 good yet. Okay.
Yeah.
And what you're going to find is, one of the questions you asked me was separating yourself from other photographers. And what you can do when you're in these price ranges around $1,500 to, $2,800 is that's when you find your groove. And you keep shooting a whole bunch of weddings. You learn from the mistakes that you make, talking to people, and you learn from the wedding experience itself and how to deal with people. And once you get through dealing with all those people, you get to the $4,500, $5,000 range where people don't haggle with you anymore. They want you for your art and for who you are, because you have all the right answers. You have all the equipment. You take great pictures. They know that you consistently do it over and over. Okay.
Gotcha.
And it just takes a little while. You're just in the phase right now. You're a great photographer. You're in the phase right now where you're just trying to figure out yourself.
Yeah.
And I've been there myself. I know what it is. It's just something you have to be patient with and really work on your craft. Okay?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that is so true. And it's just, I guess it kind of gets overwhelming, because it's like you go to these different places and you go to different, workshops and whatnot, and you're hearing all these, and you're getting all this feedback. You're like, oh my God, what do I do?
Yeah.
And then if I don't do it, I feel guilty. I'm like, oh my God, am I doing this wrong? Am I doing this right? It just gets overwhelming. You're like, oh.
Totally. I can tell you one thing that you can do to help your prices out right now is the digital files that you give. I'm sure you just give them the full res digital files, right?
Yes.
Well, one of the things I did was I gave them high res. And pretty much what it was is 2100 by 2100 in size at 72 DPI. And what that does is it allows them to print up to 8 by 10, but no larger than that. So when I made my packages, I said, they could print larger, but it'll be grainy or pixelated. So what I did is I said, it's $2,500 for high-res images. They're only printable up to 8 by 10. In fact, you'll get it in my contract that says only printable to 8 by 10. But the $3,500 package, that gives you full res. And then you say something fun like, so if you want a picture above your bed that you can look at every night or something, you can make it 40 by 60, or your uncle's doing the splits and he wants a picture of himself, he can get the full-size picture himself. So you're making it fun and conversation for him, but, and all that it's actually more effort to make high-res images that are just the size I told you than it is to make full-res, which is what they already are, because you have to take another step. So you're making more money for not taking that extra step, but you're just selling them on it, and it's a good thing to do.
Okay.
And that'll make your $3,500 package. Like if you didn't want to do the album, usually just that and the ability to download all those images online for everybody, that's enough for a $3,500 package. Take the album out, put it over to the $4,500. You include some good stuff with your $4,500 package, but I think it looks really good. And you can make the 10 by 10 album in there or the 12 by 12. I think that looks fine. I don't know if you really need to have a canvas in there, but if you did the digital file thing that I just, told you, like people understand that. It worked really well for me.
Okay. I'll do that. What I was going to ask you, should I include my engagement sessions on my packages? The reason why I do it is because I get to meet the couple.
I 100% agree.
So.
Yes, you want to get to know the people.
Yeah, before the big day,
Yeah, and what I tell people is, and this might be kind of risky for some people, but I believed in myself as a photographer. So I told people that, look, if you're not sure if you want to do this or not, let's just do an engagement session for free. And then if you don't like the way we interact, and you don't like how I take pictures, don't hire me. You don't owe me nothing, but you don't get the pictures either because you wouldn't want them anyways.
I like that.
Okay.
Okay.
So, and I'm recording this so you can play this back. But I mean, please use that because that also instills confidence in you. Because I've never had somebody go, "Oh my gosh, that engagement session sucked, Joe. I am not hiring you." I've never had somebody do that. So, and I'm sure that would be a huge blow to someone's ego if that ever happened.
They say no.
I know. After the experience, like, oh my gosh, Jennifer, gosh, your personality is terrible. We can't have that at the wedding. But if somebody did say something like that, I mean, you can learn from it. So
yeah, that's true. That's
not a bad thing.
I do.
Yeah, but I love that you're including it in there. I don't like people charging extra for that. It's kind of weird.
I feel like I have to do it because I want to get to know them. Like,
yes.
And then I ask them, hey, what did you not like? Because remember, we're doing it again at the wedding, so. Mm-hmm. Anyway, it just breaks the ice for us. That's all.
Well, instead of asking them what they didn't like, ask them what they liked the most about the engagement session. Okay. Keep it positive.
Okay.
Don't let any negative thoughts enter their mind. That bride is already stressing out enough, as you know, about her wedding. Yeah. I mean, she wants to make sure that her photographer is something that she does not have to worry about.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. What else?
So was there anything else about the pricing?
I think that's it. I just have to stop thinking about it too much.
Yeah.
I think that's more my problem. I like to analyze a lot, I think that's what had to do with my freaking paralegal work. Like, you have to, analyze. And I'm bringing that into here, which I need to stop that because I will never get it off actually put into and doing it.
That's right.
So I need to stop overthinking it, put something together that I'm comfortable with, and then just go for it and see how it goes.
Go for it. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm overthinking it. That's what it is.
But as far as the 3-tier pricing, I did 3-tier for a while, and then I switched to 2. The fewest choices, I saw that the other person suggested 4 or 5 different prices. I would never do that. Just keep it 3 or less because they have enough decisions to make, as we previously said. And make everything as clear as possible, which you have. I love that.
Should I take the incentive off of $200 for the unplugged wedding, or should I just let that be? Because most of them don't even know about it. I don't even ask.
No, I mean, then you can take it off if they don't even know about it. My thing is an unplugged wedding really that much better for you to shoot? Is it worth $200 to you?
I guess, but I don't know. It's me about social media and the pictures all in your way. I just feel like they should be there in the moment. You're getting invited to this beautiful wedding. Why not put the devices there? But I mean, I think I'm taking that personal to me.
Yeah, you're fighting a battle that can't be won. I mean, that's just the way life is nowadays. People are going to be up there with their iPads. What I do is if I see somebody with their iPad, I get right behind them and I take a picture of the iPad in focus and the bride and groom out of focus. It's kind of an addiction to me. I like doing it, and you have to be fast to do it. So it kind of sharpens your skills, but people also think it's clever. They're like, oh, that's kind of neat. And he doesn't mind me having my iPad out. There are very few moments when there are so many devices that you can't get them out of the way, but most of the time, a step to the left or right solves a problem. And photographers would rather complain instead of just simply moving to the left or right or up or forward and backwards or whatever.
Yeah, no, I understand. But it's just when you're editing, you're looking through the pictures and then you're like, oh, those phones are in the way. You just want to have that clear shot of them, they're kissing or holding hands, and then you have all this distraction. I'm like,
well, that's you in the moment. That's you in the moment. You need to solve that problem when you're taking the picture. So just be aware of it. Just get to where that thing is not, even if it's a worse angle, that's okay. I mean, the most uncomfortable thing to do is to go. I've never done this, but I would imagine if you go up to somebody and say, like, dude, could you please put down your phone? Like, you're in my way or whatever. Like, if I check out it's usually only during the ceremony, but I check out a ceremony beforehand. And if I see anybody, like especially like a videographer or anybody else that I see might be a threat to my view, I go up and say, hey, just want to let you know, I'm going to be right here shooting. And I'm going to be shooting this way. Okay. You know, just so you don't like step out in front of her or something. And then they're always aware that I'm there. And always communicate with the videographers and say, I'm going to be here when she comes down the aisle. Do you want to be right behind me? That'd be cool. You know?
I know. Oh my God. I mean, talking about that, I'm reading these blogs here in Miami, and they're talking about now that the DJs and certain vendors are bringing their own photographers to take pictures.
Yeah.
Of the day.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
Just take better pictures.
Yeah, but what if they're in the way and you're like, aren't you supposed to be the main photographer for that day? Like, can you tell them, hey, you know, I'm going to be...
You are. You know, one way that you can combat that is before the day. So you say you want to do $200 off for Unplugged Weddings. When you're in a consultation with a bride and groom, you can just simply go up to them and say, hey, you know, just is photography your main thing? If it is, please tell the other vendors that photography is your main thing and that I'm going to be there taking the pictures and I'll share it with the DJ. And that's another thing you do is you'd be like, dude, hey, I know you're taking a lot of pictures, but I'm going to give you all these. Is that cool? And then give it to them afterwards.
But I guess communication, like talk to them first and like, hey, you know.
Communication.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, solve the problem before it happens. Yeah. And you've had enough weddings to understand, you know what.
Yeah, I just haven't had that situation yet, but I'm hearing it left and right that's happening.
You know it's coming, huh?
Yeah, so I want to be prepared when it does come. So I'm like, hey, talk to.
So you had a question about off-camera flash?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's up?
I know this might sound kind of dumb in my part, but what is it that is it the thing that you? What is it? Because I hear everybody say off-camera flash. Maybe I'm doing it already and I don't know.
I brought examples here. Okay. My camera is on the flash. I'm not trying to make this sound like stupid or anything, but now it's off. So all that means is that my camera is communicating to my flash.
Oh, like what we did at that wedding.
Exactly. That's off-camera flash.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. People make a really big deal out of it. You know, there was a time when I thought I was the man because I did off-camera flash all the time, and that separated me from all the other photographers. But that wasn't what was separating me. It was how I communicated with the bride and groom and how I got them to laugh and get personality out of them.
Yeah.
But you'll to answer your question that you also have about how to differentiate yourself as a photographer, you're going to think it's the mechanical stuff. Because I had a friend who we did 3 lights at receptions. We're like, well, our reception lighting separates us from the other photographers here. And we were like big on that. But like, I shoot all of my weddings with one flash on my camera for receptions because I was missing shots with off-camera flash at a reception. But I always got the shot with the camera on my with the flash on my camera. I said opposite.
Yeah.
Off-camera flash can help in certain situations. I would go with what you're comfortable with, but I would personally, if I were you, take some classes on it. I might be able to teach you through this one-on-one sometime, but it's probably better to do it in person so you can feel it. Because what I would do is I would go out with you and I would say, all right, let's do off-camera flash, set up the settings you think it's going to be, and then you're going to see it's too bright or too dark, and I'm going to say, okay, what do you need to change? Change one thing at a time. And you'll go, okay, well, I need my settings to be lower. And then you'll get it. or you won't get it, and then you'll have to change another thing. But when you're learning off-camera flash, you just have to remember, change one thing at a time, because it can get very complicated very fast. And in the middle of a wedding, like what happens if you're taking pictures and all of a sudden you see some error message on your screen? You start flipping out because the bride and groom are there waiting for you to take a picture. And you're like, oh, take off my lens, put my lens back on, put my battery out, put my battery back on. And all the while, your aperture ring is just barely off or something like that. But you freak out. And I've even done that at weddings. After the hundreds of weddings I've shot, like something new will come up and I'll be like, what in the world? And I'll just drop that camera, pick up another camera, and get to it.
Oh my God.
Because, and it's usually a simple solution, but to sit there and figure it out, it takes up precious time. It also makes you look like you don't know what you're doing at a wedding, and your bride and groom lose confidence in you.
Yeah, and you lose the moment too. Like
that's
the
right.
And everything. Yeah, no.
And
that's happened to me at the other day at the wedding. I used one flash and batteries, and I couldn't take pictures anymore because it was so dark because the batteries went out. And I'm like, oh my God. And it kept doing that until my friend Nat and Brian, the wedding photographers as well, and they told me about this little cool machine.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, cool. So now I had an issue, I have to keep it fresh and it keeps it's pretty cool. I was like, oh, cool. I love
having
it.
a battery pack for your flash.
Yeah.
See, what I do is I always have more double A's in my pocket.
I do. I have a whole bag.
Okay.
But running back to the thing and switching out and running back in, it's just like, no, wait. So I start using that, and then I start changing it little by little. But you don't see me running back and forth like I was all the time. So
yeah, well, I mean, you assisted me at a wedding. I had you go get batteries. Yeah. I feel like having an assistant at a wedding is I pay $50 usually for an assistant at a wedding, and they go do all that stuff for me. And I see my batteries getting low, I have them go do it. And plus, it's nice to have somebody there with you.
Yeah.
I know you.
I was going to ask you too for the pricing for the second shooter. Should I even ask about that or include it within all my packages? Because I feel comfortable having someone there with me just in case something happens.
Yeah, sure. Well, if you feel comfortable with that, keep them. And if you can find a photographer, consistently and at a decent price, then I would just keep doing it. Me personally, I like shooting them by myself. I feel like every time I use a second shooter, I just want them to be creative more than anything, and or get different angles that I can't get. But I always made the bride and groom pay extra for that personally.
Oh, okay.
But and that's a confidence thing with me is I knew I was going to get that shot every single time, or at least I thought I knew. And but I will say that there was one wedding, man, like my second year into wedding photography, where I had to go up on a ladder and take a picture of the bride and groom turning around with everybody who's attending that wedding, and they were all going to look at me for a big group picture right after they kissed. And I get up there, and my camera, well, the D700 I had at the time, I was sweating into the contacts, and I did not realize that. And it started malfunctioning. And right at that moment, it would not take a picture. So I did the panic thing, got my lens, took it off, battery, put it back in. It took 2 shots, and then it died on me. And I had a second photographer at that wedding. But I learned, that's why you see me wearing sweatbands at weddings.
Oh, yeah.
Because I learned it was my sweat that got in between the contacts, and I just never made that mistake again.
That's crazy. Oh,
yeah. My God. So that does happen. But, once you go through enough bad stuff, you'll probably start shooting them all by yourself because you understand how to fix the problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But until then.
Not yet. But like you said, I'm going through a phase right now. It's a little by little. Okay, cool. Okay.
Grooms and posing?
Yes.
I know your questions before you even ask them.
Yes. Like some simple technique, because most guys they're already nervous, and most of them are pretty stressed out, and then you have them pose it, and they're like no.
Okay, well, here's the secret with photographing men. Is they don't want to wait. So So have your stuff together. When they pose, take that picture, take 2 pictures, don't get too creative with it, move on to the next scene. And what that's going to do, if you do that just a couple times, that's going to make them more comfortable with you. Like, oh man, Jennifer is like a fast photographer. And, you know, and show him the picture if you're confident with it at that time. And he'll be like, dude, she's awesome. But as far as like with groomsmen and everything, you just gotta feel out the situation. Most of them like to have fun, like cross their arms or, you know, just like protect the bride or like just like look cool, or, you know, you can use the Reservoir Dogs walking towards me. I've never seen Reservoir Dogs. But if you say, hey, walk towards me like Reservoir Dogs, every guy knows like to be like cool, like walking. And
okay.
I mean, they just know that.
I need to watch this then, because I don't know. What is that? I'm like,
it's like, well, and people have asked me, and I'm like, well, you just look cool, dude.
Oh, okay.
Guys just want to look cool. They don't want to wait a long time for their pictures. And that's pretty much it. If you can make it fun, you know, that's so much more that you could do. I had a friend who taught me a long time ago. He said, all right, guys, so what I want you all to do is to show me, like, because he was photographing people who were part of the yacht club. He said, show me with your hands who has the biggest boat, but nobody can be bigger than the groom. It was like, rah, and everybody's like, my boat's this big or whatever. And I mean, guys like to show how big their boats are. So, I mean, just like anything that's fun like that, where you can kind of like, you know, tongue in cheek, just kind of like get them doing stupid stuff.
Okay.
It usually turns out to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. Okay. There's no science to it. Just, okay, have fun. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure that's easier for me being a man to tell a guy, but I will say that I have an understanding that, you know, guys just want to look cool. And I know other photographers, very manly photographers who don't do that kind of stuff. You know, they just, you know, it depends on what your style is and what you do, and just
and your couple too. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Let's see.
How to stand out in a sea of photographers?
Yeah, we already talked about that.
Yeah.
I think I'm finding my niche on that one. Slowly though. I'm getting a lot of feedback that what I do with my customers is that once they do the inquiry, I send them an email saying congratulations, and I'll be like, hey, would you like to go have lunch or coffee? Some of them, majority of them have done it. So we go out to eat or we go have coffee and we just talk. We talk about family, we talk about the dogs and all that stuff. And they book. And they're like, oh, this is so refreshing. You know, they haven't never had that one-on-one experience. Gotcha. And they feel comfortable. And I'm just putting myself out there, you know, being real as I can be. And they like it, you know. So, and I tell them this is who I am, because if we don't be a good fit, those whole 8 hours, we're going to be BFF for the day. Exactly. And if we cannot get along,
right,
it's not going to work out, you know. And I told them, no hard feelings. If you guys don't like me, it's okay, you know. But if you still need help, like feedback, or what, I'll help you. I don't mind, you know. And they're like, oh, okay. And it's been working out, you know. You should have to be honest with them.
It's so wonderful. Have I told you that before? Because that's exactly what I do. And you know what? And it's the most honest, true thing that you can do. And I do the exact thing. If you don't like the way that we interact, we're going to be together all day long. You want a photographer that makes you comfortable. And I've had 2 or 3 brides and grooms that have not hired me after saying that. And I'm fine with that. You know, as long as they're happy with their photography. You know, what you need to do is you need to get them in person, because you have a great personality and you're going to come across a lot better in person.
I do. Because over the phone, I don't know what it is. They're like, and they don't. But once we meet, it happens more.
So get right to the point with your brides and grooms and say, and like somebody contacts you and say, hey, I'm free this afternoon. If you want to go, I'll buy you some coffee. Let's meet. And there's no
No
requirement to.
pressure. Yeah, so I tell them there's no pressure. So I bring my albums, I bring all my little things together, and then we just talk. And it's been good. It's been really great. And then I follow up with them like maybe 4 weeks later after they
Yeah.
book. Hey, how you doing? How's everything? How's the wedding going? You're like, oh my God, Jennifer, do you know any vendors? Like, yeah. And we keep it going like that. So I like it, especially the more I have free time now too. So I like it, So
Yeah.
and that's what's working out for me right now.
Okay. And here's an idea: is maybe instead of see if I'm available. I didn't see what your buttons are, but instead of saying see if I'm available or something like that, you can say let's meet for coffee, or let's meet in person and just talk about your wedding.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
Because I think your goal is to get them in person. Because people can look great on websites, or people can look stale on websites. You have a personality that's better in person, and some people are better online. Some people will do everything they can to book you online so that you never meet them in person. And then when you get to your engagement session and you've already booked them, you're like, oh crap, I made a bad decision. Because more often than not, when you're in that $2,000-ish price range, right around there, you'd be amazed. Like, people do research, but a lot of people get snaggled in to getting the first photographer they come to. And that's because there's a lot of photographers. I don't know if it's a lot, but there are some photographers who will say, look, if you book right now, I'll give you $1,000 off or whatever. And then they're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And when they've already reached out to 3 photographers, but that one got in contact with them first. And I've had people come back to me and say, dude, I should have never gone with that other photographer.
Yeah, same here. She came back and we just did the engagement session, which she's going to be featured now in one of the online magazine, which I told her. She's like, oh my God. But she initially contacted me first during my honeymoon. And then she went off somewhere, which it was okay because they got a better deal. Mm-hmm. And then she came back. She's like, Jennifer, no, I lost my deposit, but that's okay. I'm coming back. And I was like, okay, that's cool. So we did the engagement. Now she's being featured and everything. I was like, oh. And they're such a beautiful couple, inside and out. We were laughing the whole entire time we're doing the engagement session.
Well, one thing that I would tell you that you should really focus on your website is, instead of focusing on you and your photography, focus on them and their wedding.
How so? What do you mean?
Well, you have so under the info is, my goal is to create images that take you back to that moment. I want to give my couples a memorable experience. I believe in creating dynamic photography. You can say, you can use those same kind of words, but like twist it to be like, the goal of these sessions is to make a moment you will never forget. Have a memorable experience, with me as a photographer, but like, just really focus on them. And you can even say stuff like, look, I know what you're going through. I know it's stressful. I just got married. I understand that. Tell them you understand it. So the last thing you want is a photographer with a lot of complicated stuff. Let's meet in person. I'll explain it all to you and answer every question you have.
I like that.
And that's a little twist to get them in person, because that's where you're good at. So you need to get them in person. Can you pretty much answer any question somebody has about their wedding and all that stuff?
What do you mean by planning wise and all that good stuff?
No, like people bring. I always loved when people brought lists. They had a list of questions to ask their photographer.
I have done, thanks to the Knot and Wedding Wire, that had that list out there. Yeah. But I had this bride ask me 50 questions on that list.
I think this is cool because I always like to see what the questions are.
Oh my God, they were interesting. And half of them I was able to answer.
Yeah.
The one I couldn't do with the one with the Pinterest, like she wanted to have like, I was like, I can take inspiration from that, but I can't guarantee that you're gonna get the same image because they're different couples.
Okay.
It's just I don't know how to explain it to them.
Let me help you out with the Pinterest thing. Like I've been asked many times for a Pinterest board. I tell them I don't do Pinterest boards because the pictures that we are going to create together are pictures people are going to want to pin. Okay.
I like
So
that.
if people specifically, and it's funny because some people brought my shots to a wedding, go, I want a picture like this. I'm like, I took that. It's like I'll get you something similar, but it's not going to be the same. But I tell people, you know, like you said, you have to look at the facts of the case.
Yeah.
So if somebody comes up to you and says, you know, I love this heart picture. We're in the middle and everybody else is around us in a heart. And you say, well, you know, that picture was taken in a big, large field and your venue is only holds 100 people. And there's like this one little spot. I've been there before. That's not going to happen, but I can put everything together for you. You know, just always try to find a positive twist on it to be like, well, I'm going to make something that other girls are going to want to pin of your wedding.
Okay.
That gets them excited. That also makes them a little bit worried because, you know, that's my style because I always wanted to get something new and creative that they'd never seen before at their wedding. But I think a lot of brides know what they want and they hire you for a specific style. And once you know what that style is, it's going to be easier for you to answer those questions because you'll be like, well, you know my style. You know I don't do this. This is what I do. And as far as the Pinterest list goes, I've told every one of my brides that if you bring me a list, I'll be more than glad to take the list. But you're not going to get one-of-a-kind creative pictures from me because I'm going to be so busy taking pictures of that list. So if that's what you want me to do and you're paying $5,000 for me to take pictures of a list instead of being creative and getting you what I do at weddings, I'll do it. But
Yeah.
I ain't going to like it. I don't care.
But I love your style though. How do you, on the day of the wedding, because I try to put myself, I love your work. I always talk grand about it. I love your work. Like every photographer that I meet, I was like, Joe Hendricks is so creative. And I tell them like how you shot through the asterisk, how you put the dress, how you put the rings. And I was like, oh my God, you know, and they're like, wow, how do you get there? Like, I don't know if I asked you that before, but at the day of the wedding, like I can't, like I'm still running around and I can't find what you find. I'm like, well, how did he do it? Like,
You get there by doing exactly what you're doing now, shooting over and over and over.
Okay. But how do you see that moment though? Like that's what I'm saying. Like remember when we went to the St. Augustine one and it was dark in there, and then you put them in the darkness with the off, and the image came out beautiful. Like it was just like, wow.
It's just lots and lots of practice. I mean, you know, by the time you and I did that wedding together, I'd been shooting for 8 years. So how long have you been shooting weddings for?
2 years now.
Yeah. So you're at the very
you know, now it's like really
career.
into it now. Yeah.
Come back to me in 4 more years. You're going to be so creative because what happens is I encourage people to look at other people's pictures. So, you know, photographers will say, don't look at other people's pictures. You'll just be depressed. But I'm always on like Fearless or Junebug or any kind of wedding photography website. Hey, one second. I just got to make sure that my next meeting's not coming up. Okay, it's at 1. Good. Perfect. So I do that because I get inspired by that stuff. And what that does to me is it makes me think differently. Like Fairwire Easty is one of my favorite photographers to follow because he's always doing stuff differently. And then after I see his pictures, I go like this. I'm like, okay, I'm going to look, oh, that's kind of cool. I'm going to put him there. Or like if I shoot like along the side and I see like people get reflections, I'm like, well, how'd they get the reflection?
Yeah.
So I put my phone like right up to it. I'm like, oh, okay, that's how. But I need to make it out of focus. So let me go to a low aperture. You know, you just start figuring that stuff out. My most creative and productive weddings were in my 4th year. My 4th year, man, I was hungry as all get out. Like probably half of my portfolios for my 4th year because I was pushing the limits. Like, I mean, if you would have been with me then, you would have been like, this dude's all over the place. Like, I was just having so much fun because I found the perfect brides, which are in the $4,000 range, perfect brides. But you have to work your way up to there. You got to get your photography on that level. And everything you're doing now is learning so you can get to the next level. Yeah. Some people get there faster. Some people get there slower. It's just, you look like you're right on pace.
Yeah, as soon as you get there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, cool.
And every year you're going to have that discussion of like, should I raise my prices? Should I keep doing this? I mean, that's just typical stuff that you just always go through.
Yeah. Okay. I'm also thinking, I don't know if, I already asked you about the photo booth, adding that.
Yeah.
So maybe some extra passive income, rent
Totally.
it out to other, I don't know, like little events, birthday parties.
Just make sure it's available for your weddings.
Yeah,
yeah, and that's a separate cost, obviously, right?
Yes, of course. I was going to let my husband, Walter, run that for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's something, so.
You wanted me to tell you how your brand makes me feel?
Oh, yeah. I never asked because I'm so scared to ask. But I was like, you know what? Let me just
ask. You could be scared. No, I'm just kidding. No. Just going through your website, it feels very light. And it looks like a bride would really like it. I mean, I love your text and everything. It's very simple. I can go through it really easy. When I go to the portfolio, obviously I helped you a while back, like with portfolio stuff. I think you've done a great job with your portfolio. I mean, what I would do personally is, I'm looking through it as I'm talking to you, is I've told you before, only use the images that you absolutely love that take your breath away as a photographer and post those. Post the brides and the grooms. I don't care if it's 3 pictures or if it's 5 pictures. You don't have to pose a whole bunch of pictures.
Okay.
Just post the best because you're only as good as your worst photograph. Okay. And if you have a question about one of your pictures on whether or not you should include it, don't include it.
Okay.
You shouldn't have any question.
Okay.
And there was a time when I went through a change in how I edited. And you can distinctly see it in the one wedding where I changed. I mean, bam, my editing was completely different from then on. I had to go back and re-edit pictures in my portfolio, just in my portfolio. And because you want that look to be the same. And that's how you kind of create your brand is, it's kind of weird if you're shooting all these pictures that are beautiful, but then you have like some amazing shots in the past that just had poor lighting or poor composition or whatever. You got to take that stuff out. Always be editing your portfolio.
Okay.
But as far as the look goes, I don't think you found your look yet.
Okay.
You're definitely on a really good path for it. I'm not seeing any. The main consistency that I'm seeing is in your editing. Sorry, did you hear that beep?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. That was an email somebody sent me. I'm not looking at it. I'm looking at your work. That's the main thing is you have happy couples. Okay, here's what I would do. I would personally, if I were you, okay, since you're good in person, I would take out the pictures of like people's backs and stuff. Like you have that girl looking out the window, even though it's beautiful. Like, and I don't know how you shoot at your weddings, but I would imagine from talking to you and having you work with me that you still have a great personality at your weddings and you're not too stressed by them, hopefully. And if you are, relating with those people, show those relatable images. Have pictures of people laughing, people smiling, people in love, because you may have a desire to get into creative stuff and show the creative Cortiella, but your personality is so good. What I'm doing is I'm looking at an opportunity, and the opportunity is your personality. You may be creative, and you may get more creative pictures that are really cool. But unless they show the person's personality, I don't know if I would necessarily include them all the way.
Gotcha.
Just because people want to be happy on their wedding day, and you're good at pulling out the personalities of people. I mean, I would consistently show that more than anything.
Okay.
You know me, I get super creative at my wedding. So, and I can pull out the personality in people, but I feel like my creativity overwhelms the personality. Like, the personality is still in there, but I get really creative with my stuff. So not everybody's going to be smiling, but I still feel like it looks cool.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. I get it. Yeah. Okay. And that's what I'm trying to gain for here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll do, and I don't. Most of my pictures of people smiling or just candid moments and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to convey to my audience, I guess. That okay, cool. But I see what you're saying. So take out those pictures that are not conveying personality and stuff like that.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Yeah, girl, use what you got, and you got a good personality. So. You had a question about editing and consistency, right?
Yeah, I've been trying to stay true to that, but it's hard at sometimes because of different venues or different lighting, different locations. And then when I try to put my edit on there, it does not look so good. And you're like, oh my God, how can I keep it consistent?
Yeah.
And, and then clients aren't even looking at it. They're just looking at the moment. They're not really looking at the editing. So I'm like racking my brain, and then they pick this ugly picture. You're like, oh, that's not the picture I wanted, but they like it for whatever reason. And then I ask them, how come, why? And they're like, oh, because it's a moment, it's genuine. I was like, oh, okay. Yep. But then I spent like an hour or so trying to edit another picture. I don't know.
So first question is,
that rule? Like, yeah. Can I?
My first question for you is, do you edit every picture?
I do.
That you give them?
Every single picture I edit.
That's good. So, you're 100% right, and I feel like you're way ahead of the game, knowing that they want the picture with the personality in it and the emotion in it.
And as long as they're not red, they're okay with it.
Right.
But I don't know.
So the thing is so the reason that I started shooting on camera flash at receptions and on my camera literally is because I had a consistent look at the reception. When I shot off camera flash, I would use 3 lights, which is ridiculous when I think about it now. But, people would be backlit, people would be side lit, front lit, depending on where they were. It was different every time. What you need to do you edit in Lightroom?
Yes.
Do you use the previous button?
Yes.
Okay.
To compare?
No. The previous button just applies the settings to the last photo to the next photo.
Oh, no, I don't like doing that because remember, I like to take one. I was trying that, and then when I go back to look at them, it'll be totally different. Then I have to tweak them one by one anyways. It didn't. That's what I'm saying. The lighting sometimes was not good, or it was too sunny. It was too bright.
Are you shooting in manual mode or aperture?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
it's just different. I don't know what it is.
If you're consistently shooting the same way, you won't have that problem.
But what do you mean the same way? Like the same settings the whole entire time?
No. I mean like adjusting your settings so that the picture looks the same. So, how you go outside and it's all bright, but you can still expose it the same way you would indoors. And you just lower your shutter speed and like raise your ISO, but you have the same kind of exposure in both settings. It's gonna look a little different because you're in a little different lighting situation. Plus, you have to deal with different lights, like tungsten lights, halogen lights, daytime lights,
church lights and no flash and all
all
that.
that other crap.
Yeah.
And those are the things that you just change with white balance in Lightroom. It's just, I think I need to look. I would have to look at your stuff, honestly, to give you a really good answer on that. But consistently shooting the same every single time will solve that problem. There might be something that that maybe you're missing or something.
Maybe, yeah.
But
because if you look through my pictures,
yeah,
they're not all uniform. They're different. Right. I mean, I don't over edit and I don't go too light or moody or whatever they have out there these days. I just try to keep it clean as possible and keep it true to the moment. But it's not it doesn't. Not all the pictures look the same.
So here's what I will tell you from looking at your website. You're doing different edits on your pictures in your portfolio. So just do the same edits. So like you have one that has a high black level, so it looks more like light and fluffy, kind of, I guess. Is not so contrasty. And then you have another picture where they're on the side of a mountain. They're doing the dip. That's a lot more contrasty than some of the other pictures. So you have different feels for all those things. And what you literally need to do for your portfolio is pull all those pictures as they are into Lightroom, re-edit them so that they're all using the same edit, and then post them back up. And the reason it is because you need to have that stuff consistent. I mean, you have some really beautiful shots, but you do have two different styles going on your front page in your portfolio. First one's very dynamic, beautiful, bold, and contrasty. The next couple, the black levels are raised on them. They look very different. You just have to decide on which editing style you want to go with.
That's true. Okay. I guess I'm editing is how I feel the picture.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Okay.
Well, and also, if you do the same edit every time, you're not going to be spending weeks editing. You're going to spend a couple days, and that's it. Like, I take every single picture through Lightroom, then every single picture through Photoshop using a batch process. Through Batch Plus is what I use. And that, like, I pick my photos one day, edit everything in Lightroom the next day, edit everything in Photoshop the next day, and I'm done.
Why Photoshop too?
Because Photoshop allows me, like if I have a dirty lens or something, to take out spots if I happen to have those, or if I see like my crop wasn't, it's like a second check on everything I've already done. Sometimes I'll smooth skin a little bit if I'm really close up, and I tell all my brides and grooms, if you have a zit, I'm taking it out, because it sucks to have the only day you're having a zit is on your wedding day. So I take stuff like that out. But that's it. And what my batch process does is it also makes a full res, a high res, and a blog resolution. So I make all those three at the same time, so that after I'm done editing, I have all my blog stuff, I have my high res stuff, and all my full res stuff.
Nice.
Okay. And it goes through each one. Like, so literally I just push a couple keys, next one pops up. Push a couple keys, next one pops up. And it edits everything the way that it's supposed to be. It's good.
Okay, cool.
I used to think people were crazy for going through Photoshop too after Lightroom, because I was like, that's a lot of work, but it's actually not once you get into it.
Okay.
Are you overwhelmed?
No. It's just the editing. That's like, I have to work on that more.
Hey, if you don't like editing, source it out.
Yeah, but then I don't know. We'll see. I have to practice it.
Well, you can go to what, shoot.edit or something like that? Or
yeah, I've been using them, but yeah. But then I have to tell them what's my style, and it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll figure.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Or hire an assistant, or just do it all yourself. I did all my editing myself, so it's. Once you get it down to a process and you know the look you're going for, it gets so much easier. You just got to figure that out.
Okay.
And it's not easy.
Yeah, no. Okay, perfect.
What other questions do you have for me?
I think you answered all of them, Joe.
Cool.
Yeah, the pricing was a big issue. The editing was a big issue for me.
Yeah, usually in all these cases, if you just follow your heart and what you want to do, I mean, you really can't go wrong. Stop listening to outside opinions about your business, because I know that affected me. I would rather learn and get creative with stuff. So I want to shoot more weddings, back in the day. So I lowered my price just a little bit so I could shoot more weddings.
Mm-hmm.
And the more weddings you shoot, the more consistent you get, the better everything gets. Your creativity goes up, your relation goes up. You can knock out meetings like nothing. I could walk into a meeting right now, one-on-one with a bride and her mom and her future husband, and just knock that sucker out and answer every single question they have with confidence, humility, and fun. It's just because I've been through so many now. And you get to that level. I was not like that when I was at $2,000 and $3,000. And I was embarrassed. I'd be like, I don't know the question. I don't know the answer to that, but I'll get back to you on it. There comes a time when you pretty much answered everything.
Yeah.
And it's exciting when a new question comes up. You're like, "Ooh, I haven't heard that one before. That's kind of neat."
Okay. Yeah, I'm just starting, so I have to, slowly but surely I'll get to that level. But as of right now, I'm comfortable with, with what you see. And I just have to work on stuff right now.
Cool.
But yeah, I think I'll be fine. Like, I just have to keep working on it and have more confidence and shoot more weddings and all that stuff. And yeah.
That's right. Well, I'm going to say, oh, sorry.
No, I need to stop, like, oh, should I do it? All that stuff. Like, I need to just focus on what works for Jennifer.
Mm-hmm.
And take heed on certain things and just go with it. Because if I keep overthinking and asking here and asking there, it's never going to get time.
Jennifer, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. We can talk a little bit more after this.
Okay.
But I want to let everybody know, if you listen to this whole entire thing and you liked it, go check out Cortiella Photography and see what she's doing with her website and everything. Check her out and her work and see how she progresses over the years after these one-on-one consults. You guys can always email me at joe@joehendricks.com if you want a consultation one-on-one. All right. Bye, Jennifer.
Thank you, Joe. Bye.
Stay on, and I'll talk to you in a second.